My name is Maxime. I am a former triathlete, powerlifter, bodybuilder, and basketball player, and I've been vegan for over 9 years. I'm also the founder and CEO of Fit Vegan Coaching, which has helped over 500 vegans from 20 different countries to completely transform their bodies and their health. Let's get into the show. All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the Maxime podcast. Very excited to have you guys here with me today. Hope you enjoyed episode 1. I know it was a little bit on the longer side, but I want to give full context as to why I started this second podcast. So as you can see by today's title, I want to give a little recap of all the things that I've learned from doing the Unleash the Power Within event by Tony Robbins. I did it about 2 weeks ago, which was an awesome experience. It was my first Tony Robbins event. I've always wanted to be able to do one since I was 15 years old. Never had the funds to do it. Was never able to make it happen. And this year I was able to. So very excited that I got to do that. And I'm going to share with you guys some of the things that I've learned that hopefully will be able to provide some value to your life as well. So before we get into that, just, a little update. If you guys are listening to this podcast episode right now, I'm currently on my way back to California. So you guys have been following my journey a little bit. Like my fiance Ivy, who was in the first episode, we're moving back to California just because we can't be in Canada for too long because she's only on a tourist visa. So we're currently on a road trip. So go head over to my Instagram to kind of see the documentation of the journey. We have some awesome stops and awesome guests that we're going to go and meet and interview along the way. So if you want to stay have a live update on that, check out my Instagram, which will be the link down below in the show notes. So a few things from the Tony Robbins event that happened. It was a very interesting experience. I've never done events that are that long. I think the days were like 12 to 14 hour days, and it was four days in a row, right? So basically full immersion into Tony's world. And honestly, it went by fast. As much as it was long when I think back on it in the moment. All the exercise that you're doing, it makes you stand up, dance, change your physiology, and do all of these things. And actually, I found that I had energy to go to full 12 to 14 hours, and it actually went by pretty quickly. And it was such a powerful event. So if you have the opportunity to do so, highly recommend that you do it as well. So one of the big things that I took away from the event was we tackled some of the top limiting beliefs that we had in our life, right? I came to the event with some things that I wanted to work on, and that was one of them. So I'm just going to be completely transparent and vulnerable with you guys by sharing these things. And that's also a part of some of the limiting beliefs that I had. So one of them was I had a fear of being humiliated and get made fun of. Because when I grew up, when I was in school, I got bullied. When I was in the basketball team, I got bullied. I played basketball for a long time. And that's the reason that led me to go from like a scrawny 160-pound kid to go to a 240-pound basketball player when I entered college. That was a reason why I got bigger, because I didn't want to get made fun of anymore. And ultimately, I realized that throughout my life, I had built this persona, this image of myself where I couldn't get made fun of, either because I was really muscular, or then when I lost all the weight, when I went from bodybuilding to high fashion modeling, I had to lose about like 80 pounds to make that happen. I started to develop my personality and to build a squeaky clean image of myself, if I can put it that way. And so realizing that the limiting belief was I was fearful of getting made fun of and being humiliated, because that's what I had for a long time. And throughout the years, I built protection mechanism towards that. Through the exercises, it made me realize that if I don't go full out as to who I am, if I don't play the game of life 100%, then I'm going to have regrets in the future. And ultimately, I will get made fun of and be humiliated if I wasn't myself, right? Because I'm confident when I'm going to be 40, 50, or 60, I'll be like, dang, like that was really stupid that I didn't play life full out. And so that's one of the limiting beliefs that I got rid of. There's a lot of action steps that came out of me having that realization, because I didn't know that that's what I was doing. I did not know why I was fearful to be out there even more than I am now. And it might sound silly to some of you guys because, I'm recording 2 podcasts a day. I'm on YouTube. I'm on TikTok. I'm everywhere creating content. I'm writing for news article. I'm being interviewed. I'm interviewing. I'm doing a lot of things in the public space, but there was still that a big part of me was holding back because of that fear. And so what I realized is I feel I've been playing life at about 20%. And once I realized that I was playing life at about 20%, it got me super excited because for me, when I look at it from my side, from playing life at 20%, I was able to support my ex-partner through her cancer treatments for 5 years financially. I was able to get 60K out of that. I was able to build a 7-figure company and some 6-figure companies. I was able to live the life of my dream. I was able to completely uproot my life and move to a country that I've always wanted to move to. And so me realizing that I've been able to accomplish all of these things just by playing 20% made me really excited of what I could create by playing life full out at 100%, right? So far, since I've started all of this journey, I think we've donated over $20,000 to families battling cancer. We've helped over 600 people from 20 different countries through our coaching programs to get lean, thrive, and disease-proof their bodies. And that was me going at 20%. So I'm very excited. If you're on video, you can see how excited I'm really excited to see how many more people we're going to be able to impact. And if you've been following me for a while, you know my mission is to help 10,000 people get lean, thrive, and disease-proof their bodies by 2033 and 1 million by 2050. It's a pretty big goal, but I'm very confident going to be able to hit it because it's going to be almost 3 years of having started Fit Vegan. We're already almost at 650 plus people now, almost at this point. I have to look at the new numbers. Within 3 years, and we're just growing exponentially every single year. So I'm very confident going to be able to hit that goal by those years that we've set for ourselves. So that was a big realization for me, is that I wasn't playing life full out because of that fear. And I just realized that, you know what, fuck it. Some people are not going to like me. Some people are going to like me. And the ones that don't like me will either be because I am playing life full out and it's intimidating to them, or simply because they just purely don't like me. And that's okay. And I don't have to care or do anything about it because I have to live my life and I have to fulfill the mission that I feel I've been put on this earth to do. Right. And I had this conversation with Ivy, and I was just like, a part of me is like, if I'm not pursuing serving and helping others, like there's no point for me to be here on this earth. Right. Not suicidal. What I'm saying is that's ultimately why I believe that I'm here. And I've always had this belief deep inside of me since I was a young kid that I was here to serve and I was here to help others. And so now, having more skills, being older and being in a different position, like I'm very excited to continue to do that at a greater scale. And then another fear another limiting belief that I had throughout the process, and again, I'm sharing this with you guys, and I'm just hoping that some of them connect with you, that you can identify some of the limiting beliefs that you have and how it's been holding you back in your life. One of them is that I wasn't good enough to help people live to their fullest potential, right? That I wasn't good enough to do that. And then again, through a series of exercise and having conversation with Ivy, he was like, are you preaching anything to other people that you didn't do or that you would never do? I was like, never. I only preach to people what I do. And she's like, do you think that if people would come to live a full week with you, that they would see that you're living everything that you preach and that their life would be radically transformed? I was like, absolutely. I was like, I know for a fact that I am a machine when it comes to doing everything that I say that I'm going to do. Only Ivy gets to see that. You guys get glimpses of it through my Instagram stories, but I am very regimented when it comes to learning, studying, my training, serving our members, growing the businesses, serving other people, giving back. I'm very regimented with doing all these things. I'm really passionate about what I'm doing. So she's like, well, ultimately, you are good enough to help people live to their fullest potential because you've done it for yourself. You've helped over 600 other people do it, and you're living it day by day, right? You're a living example. You're leading by example. And so it just made me realize that I am, and I have the ability to do it. So a lot of cool things came out of doing these specific exercises. It's actually something I started doing with my members in our program, because we have 5 group calls per week. And the one on Monday is Breakthrough Mindset with me. And then we started doing some of the exercise to get rid of limiting beliefs. And the members have been having amazing breakthroughs. And it's been really powerful to see their inner shift, their inner transformation. And that's been really rewarding. And for them, it's had a huge impact in how they perceive themselves and how they approach their training nutrition from there. The other part that came out of the event is identifying the 6 human needs that we have. So Tony puts it as there's 4 primary needs, and there's 2, you want to say spiritual needs. So the 4 primary needs are certainty. The second one is uncertainty / variety. So it calls it the spice of life. The third one is significance. And then the fourth one is connection and love, right? So everything that we do will have to do with one of these four primary needs. And the two spiritual needs are growth and contribution. So when you have some of these spiritual needs that are being met, that's when you start to have fulfillment in your life. If you're only stuck in the four primary ones, there's going to be a lack of fulfillment. So you want to include some form of growth, because as humans, we want to grow, we like to progress. And obviously contribution, giving back, is what fills the bucket up when it comes to fulfillment, right? So he basically asked us, what do we think our top two primary needs are? For me, it's growth. I tend to put myself in hard situations just so that I can get growth. And it tends to be, subconscious. Sometimes I do it. I tend to attract hard things just so that I can grow. And I absolutely love learning, studying, and improving. And then for me, my second one was significance, right? As much as I was contributing and giving back and wanted to help others, like there's a part of me that there was a significant piece to it. If you're like newer to the world of business and newer to the world of like making more money than you've ever made before, significance kind of like takes over in the early stages because it's so new to you. So to me, one of the things I bought for my birthday last year, because I had paid off all my debts, we had a tremendous year and I wanted to celebrate, is I bought something that I've always wanted as a kid. And now that I'm about to say it, I'm not proud of it. And I'm actually working on selling it, and I'll explain why I'm going to sell it and what I'm going to do with that money. But I bought myself a Rolex. Growing up, it was the status of like, you made it, right? Like once you're able to afford a Rolex, like you made it. And so when I was in that position for my birthday, I was like, I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to buy the thing that I've always wanted. And I bought myself a Rolex, which I spent way too much money on. It was more than how much I used to make per year before. But it was such a cool moment and not a cool moment at the same time, because when I bought it, I went back to the car with Ivy. I just started crying. And then I realized that it wasn't the watch that was making me emotional. It was the fact that I got to the point in my life where I was able to buy the watch and not be broke. It was becoming who I've had to become, having gone through all the 5 years of cancer, having suffered through everything, having spent $10,000 a month on cancer treatments alone, meaning I acquired a lot of debt throughout the years. Having got myself out of that position, having gone through all that, I was like, damn, I was able to buy this thing. Like who I had to become to be in this position is what I was actually proud of versus the actual watch. And the watch has just been sitting in my closet for a long time now. It's going to be a year now in 4 months since I bought the watch. And so I'm working on selling it. So if any of you want a Rolex, let me know. It's a Rolex Datejust 41. It's a really nice watch. So out of the 60, for me, going back to the 60 needs was significance, right? I was like, oh, like I have a Rolex, like I'm cool, right? I'm doing all of these things. And then it just, as I was progressing in that world and living in LA also, you kind of get stuck in that world. I was like, man, this feels really freaking empty. Like I get nothing out of this. And I've been stepping away from significance, from valuing it. And we all want significance to a certain extent, whether it is with our partner, with our parents, with our friends. Like we all look for it. There's a positive, a neutral, and a negative way of fulfilling it. To me, I thought that was a negative way of fulfilling it. And he's like, where is that going to lead your life if you continue with these two habits, right? Of growth and significance. And then it's like, are you happy with what that's going to look like? Like, no. Okay. So what would your two top primary needs need to be in order for you to have the life that you want? And then I was like, you know what? I'm like growth and love and connection. Because one thing I've realized, for those of you that have partners, if you don't have a great relationship with your partner, every other area of your life sucks. Doesn't matter how well the business is, doesn't matter how much money you're making, doesn't matter how many people you're helping. If you come home and you have a bad relationship with your partner, you're not gonna feel really great. And so to me, having love and connection and focusing on growth / contribution would allow me to have the life that I want. I have an amazing relationship with Ivy, but I want to have an even more amazing relationship with her. And then I was debating on like growth and contribution, but I chose to pick contribution as my second primary need, because through contribution, through me focusing on giving back to other people, I would be forced to grow, right? And then I get the pleasure that I get from growing from there, and I also get to give back. So contribution and connection and love were the two that I kind of went with. So just something interesting for you to think about as I'm talking about this, like what are the two primary needs that you're personally prioritizing for yourself? We all have a little bit of each of them, but there's two of them that we prioritize the most for. So for some people it's certainty, so they tend to take less risk in life, and for some people it's uncertainty and variety, where they take a lot of risk and then they have no stability in their life, right? So it depends for everyone. And so my question for you is the same that I had to do, is like, what are the two primary needs that you're currently prioritizing? And if you want to have the life that you want, what are the two needs that you would need to prioritize, right? So maybe it's love and connection and growth. Maybe it's uncertainty and contribution, whatever. Maybe there's no there's a right or wrong answer. But if you ask from the place of your higher self of what is for the life that you want, what would those needs be? You'll get some pretty clear answers. Another point he brought up, right? I made a list of things that I've kind of learned through the event and I've realized. So just hopefully something kind of connects with you and helps you in your journey. One part is that all transformation is 80% psychology and 20% strategy. And I started reflecting back on my life and the members that we've helped. And I was like, you know what? Like, that's basically what I tell all my members, right? You can have the best training plan, nutrition plan in the world, but if we don't work on your mindset and your ability to stick to it, then there's no transformation, right? There's no magic that happens simply because you got a good meal plan and a training plan. You actually have to follow through on it. And then I reflected back to my own self, right? If you want to look at business and improving in any other area, I have mentors in my life that are helping me with business, that are helping me with psychology. And they're right. Like, it is 20% psychology, 20% strategy, and 80% psychology, because if I have some really great strategies and I don't implement them, or I'm fearful of implementing them fully, I never get to where I want to. Therefore, I'm always the bottleneck of my life or my business. If I don't level up what is in my head, then I'm always going to be stuck at the degree to which I am allowing myself to be, if that makes sense. Right. So for business terms, you become the bottleneck of your life in your business if you don't focus on your psychology, because your mind is the thing that will hold you back the most, right? I had an interesting conversation with a friend of mine who is financially free. So meaning he doesn't have to work another day in his life and can sustain his amazing lifestyle because he's done some great with investments. And he was still stressed about money. And I was like, that's interesting, right? You would think that when you get to the place where you have enough money that you can live off, live off of that stress for money would kind of end. And it is for certain people. But what he told me is that he was financially free, but he wasn't mentally free. Right. And so as much as he had all the money he needed, and he's sitting on a lot of money that he could just comfortably live and not have to work another day in his life, it wasn't mentally free. And so for him, that was the work that he was doing. And I thought that was really interesting. So just note that 80% of transformation is psychology, 20% is strategy, and trying to look at that in your own life, right? If you think of your relationship, if you're having a hard time with your relationship, right? Strategies are going to help, but the psychology is going to be different. So how you view your partner, the beliefs that you have about your partner, limiting beliefs that you have about yourself, about you being in a relationship, those are all the things that need to be addressed, right? Which is why we're including so much more of that in our coaching program, because I literally want to make this the best coaching program in the world. The other point was Ivy did this with me. So to me, that was extremely powerful to have my partner do that with me, my fiance do that with me. I've never done a self-development seminar with a partner before. And it was really powerful to see her playful out and to just be vulnerable, honest, and authentic. And I learned a lot about her throughout the process, as she learned a lot about me throughout that process. And it was powerful to get some insights as to what are the things that she was dealing with, how she was coping with them, what are the things that she was prioritizing, what were her limiting beliefs, what were the things that's, that were holding her back from her playing life full out. And so we just had some really beautiful moments together. And so one thing I've always wanted as I got older was to have a partner that was willing to grow with me. And I was always upfront with past relationship, but like, if you're not really willing to grow, like, this is not going to work out, because I am so driven to growth and impact that I need to continuously improve. And I can't be with someone that's just going to like sit there, watch TV, not do anything on the weekend, that's not going to read, that's not going to want to do seminars, that's not going to want to improve. And so to me, that's something that was important in my life. And I'm really happy that I found that. And I was really happy that I was able to do that with Ivy. I mean, actually, it brought us so much more closer. We were already closer because we literally do everything together. Like, we work together. She's that's another point, but she's co-leading some of the businesses with me. We work out together. We literally do everything together. So it was a powerful experience for us to do together. Another point was the importance of physiology, right? So we talked about basically your posture, right? Your bodily posture, basically your physiology, how it affects everything in your life. So throughout the 12 to 14 hours, the reason why it went so smooth and I had energy and it felt like it went by fast is because we were in prime physiology, right? So we're dancing, standing up, opening our arms and doing various different things that were changing your physiology to be in a good state. Because he said, like, if you think of someone that's in a depressed, anxious state, and I ask you to imagine what it's like someone to be in a depressed and anxious state, you could already imagine in your head, right? Shoulders are down, head is probably down, probably like just very limited respiration, breathing. And so when you think of someone that is like feeling awesome and that is confident, you just automatically imagine in your head, right? Standing taller, taking big breath, it's calm. So just simply by shifting your posture, your physiology, you can change everything. And I've noticed that to be true over the past 2 weeks, moments where, when you're in business, there's things that show up that you have to deal with. I would just, your shoulders kind of go down like, oh, damn, I had to deal with this. So I would try and catch myself and stand up tall and take big breath. Okay, like, yes, I get to deal with this, right? Change the wording, change the physiology. And that's fun. That's made a tremendous difference in my ability to handle the things that were showing up. So just something to keep in mind to shift your physiology. Simply by smiling, pulling your shoulders back, taking a big breath makes the world of a difference. That's why he says a lot of people when they're in the bad state, they're going to turn to food or they're going to smoke, right? So he explained why people do that. There's obviously multiple reasons why, but one of the big reasons why it makes you feel good is because when you eat a lot of food, all the blood will rush to your stomach, basically a lot of the blood will rush to the stomach to digest. That's going to force you to take some big breath when you're full, right? So just by taking a big breath, you have to stand taller, you have to open up your lungs, so automatically you change your physiology. Same thing when you're smoking, right? It's not the smoking in of itself, as you're taking big breath. That's what makes the difference. And so that's why some of the people turn to, there's obviously more to it, but that's a physiological reason behind it. Another exercise that we did was the gap exercise, and I thought it was really powerful. So he asked us to rate all the different areas of our life. And I'm just going to pull my notebook here so that if you guys want to do it by yourself, there's a few different areas of life that he asked us to rate. So one of them was our physical body, emotions and meaning, relationship, time, work, career / mission, finances, and then celebration and contribution. So he asked us to rate ourselves on each of these category, right? So for me, physical body, I was like, I'm a freaking 9.5, right? That's like the one area of my life that I've mastered. So like emotions, relationship, time, work, finances, contribution, you put a rating on those, right? And then after you're done rating those authentically and honestly, then you put the rating beside it of what you want it to be, right? So let's be honest, most people want to be a 10 in all of those areas. And then so from there, there's a gap between where you're at and where you want to be. And makes you do a little exercise for each of those categories. So for example, your physical body, if you're a 6 and you want to be a 10, the gap will be, you ask yourself, what needs to happen for me to be a 10? Right? Well, maybe I need to hire a coach. I need to change my nutrition. Maybe I need to get a gym membership, right? Whatever. Maybe I need to buy some running shoes. I don't have any running shoes, whatever it may be. You make a list of the things that are needed for that you think you need to get to a 10. Ultimately, we always know what to do. We just never do it, or we never thought of it. So it's never been brought to your awareness. And so you make that a little exercise. And so for one of them, he got us to do it as a whole life thing. So it's like, where are you at in your life? Where do you want to be? What's the gap in between them? So for me, realizations that came was, I need to invest more in the company. I need to invest more in techs, in research, in team, so that we can make the program even better, right? I really want to have the number one best program in the world when it comes to transforming people's health, right? And I think we're on a really good track for that. We're one of the world's number one whole food plant-based body recomposition experts, because most program will do body recomposition with like fake meat. If you're going to the vegan space, like fake meat. A lot of people that do whole food plant-based will just focus on health. So if you're like diabetic or you have certain health issues and you have to lose a bunch of weight, like they'll focus on health. But if you want to have a great body, look great, be vital, be able to perform in your life, have strength, have energy, on a whole food plant-based diet, which that ultimately will help reduce inflammation, make your body alkaline, improve your gut health, just improve everything, then we're one of the only ones that combines both of them together, because everyone has a certain belief about how much protein you should have, how your nutrition should be structured. And through research and studies, and just we have a lot of doctors that back up the things that we do, we're able to build this beautiful program that's helped over 600 people at this point. Right. So one of us invest more in the company, more into research, more into our team, more into tech, to see how we can serve people best. The other thing that I got from my gap exercise was that proximity is power, right? The only reason I got to where I am in my life is because I surrounded myself with people that are crushing it in the areas that I want to. When I hired my first mentor, that's when my life changed. And I'm working on getting my mentor on this podcast as well, because I met him when I had $34.37 in my bank account. If you listen to the first podcast, you'll know the whole story around it, but completely helped me change my life around, because he was an expert in his field. And I hired him for this specific thing, and I got the results that I came in for. So proximity is power. And now my next big jump into investing in myself and the company and putting myself in a position where I can contribute even more, as Tony Robbins has a beautiful, an awesome group of people. It's called the Platinum Partnership. So it's the closest thing to working with Tony Robbins himself. You can work with him directly, but it's $1 million a year and there's a 7-year wait list. The next closest thing is the Platinum Partnership. So you get access to all of the events. You get to meet Tony. There's 3 private events with Tony. You get access to amazing community. There's a lot of things that are included in it, and that would be my biggest investment to date. Canadian, that would be over 6 figures for the year, which scares me a little bit. I'm going to be honest, but I know that this is the next evolution of what I need to do for where I want to be. If I want to be able to help impact 10,000 people through our coaching program and transform their life, and be able to donate hundreds of thousands of dollars to people, to families, to support them through cancer, because my ultimate vision is there's a nonprofit, and I'm kind of like going to seal the deal on this in the next week or so. There's a nonprofit that specializes in educating people on whole food plant-based eating to help you disease and reverse some of the chronic diseases that you have, created by an amazing doctor. It's an amazing program. And so usually this person charges a lot of money for people to take this course, but then through their nonprofit, they have it at a really discounted rate, and then families can kind of pitch in together to kind of take the course. So what I want to do is be able to fund this course for families that are battling chronic disease. And I want to be able to fund, to help fund, 70-80% of their grocery bill to help eat the food that they need to heal themselves, right? And if I can help support 100 families a month, that would be amazing, right? But 100 families a month, you're looking at $1,000. That's a lot of that's a lot of money that I would need to have to be able to support those families. And so ultimately, I need to bring the businesses to another level so that I'm able to donate this much and give this much away. And so that's the next evolution of me, and that's why I want to be a part of that group. Another big thing was obviously bringing Ivy on at a higher capacity. Ivy's, a lot of you guys might know her just from being my fiance, but she was working for the World Poker Tour. She's one of the World Poker Tour girls for over 10 plus years. She was a vice president of the company, and she was working with before she moved to Canada with me. She's an absolute machine. And I have not been allowing her to fully use her potential, out of my own fears, of, having my first business, my first baby, and really want to take care of it and protect it. And ultimately, we're going to get married and spend the rest of our life together. So I brought Ivy on to higher capacity 2 weeks ago after the event, and it's been absolutely tremendous. We actually already start to increase our impact through her, bringing her on board. And the last thing to close the gap was just to stop playing small, stop playing at 20%, start playing at 100% all out. And that looks like ultimately starting this podcast, right? So through the Fit Vegan podcast, which is my first podcast, you guys that are just discovering this one, I have interviewed some of the biggest names in the vegan space, right? And a lot of them are dear friends of mine. That's where we interview some of our members that have crushed a transformation. But there's a lot of experts that I would like to bring on to serve our members. And just because of branding, they don't want to go on a podcast called Vegan because they're not vegan, but have tremendous value to add in their specific field of expertise. And so I was going to change the name Fit Vegan, but it's so good that I want to keep it. So I was like, let's just start a podcast with my own name, and I can have anyone I want on And then obviously still living a whole food plant-based lifestyle for myself, always promoting that, but just allows me to have a diversity of guests that would be able to provide value in different fields. And so that's, one of the things. And then starting the MaximeSigouin.com website, where you can find all the ways to work with me through different companies that I own, because you can work with me directly through each of them. They all provide value in a different way, right? So one of them is, peak performance coaching. So if you're an entrepreneur, a person that works like sales or commission, or if someone you have the ability to earn more if you perform more, and you want to work on your psychology on top of taking care of your health and your body, that would be our peak performance program. That would be working with me, obviously directly. So we can work on your psychology. We can get rid of limiting beliefs. We can get your mind to the next level, your body and your health to the next level, so you can perform more, earn more money, impact more people, and better serve your family. And then there's our Fit Vegan coaching program, which is more like our holistic fat loss program. That's the one where we're the world's #1 whole food plant-based body recomposition experts, right? So we take care of your training and nutrition, and we have some mindset. It's just split up on group calls throughout the week. And it's our program that's ultimately helped us to help over 600 people from 20 different countries. It's an amazing coaching program with an amazing team behind us. We have a doctor of physical therapy on task. We have a holistic nutritionist on task, and we have Coach Nicole, who absolutely love Coach Nicole. She's a previous member to also 110 pounds with us. She used to work as a scientist in a hospital, and she used to treat people after they got sick. And she's like, I can't do this anymore. I want to help people before they get sick. And she saw the amazing work that we were doing in the program, and she got certified and came to work with us. And it ultimately has helped hundreds of our members transform. And then we have our Fit Rich Life program, which is basically a fitness and money coaching program. So we help you get a handle on your finances. So we have some incredible results. We have some people that 5x their net worth. We have people that paid off 20K in debt. We have people that saved, over 50K in their saving, that improved their savings rate. We have people that increased their earning capacity, starting new businesses. So it's a fitness and money. So we take care of your training, nutrition as well, in a slightly different format, because Fit Vegan coaching is through meal plans. Fit Rich Life will be through macro tracking. But the biggest part is we help you get a handle on your finances. It's a program that I wish I had when I was younger, because no one taught me this. No one taught us this in school. So it's taught by myself, my business partner, Justin, who's a financial freedom coach, who's also, financially free, well off. And it is the one that's helping our members get amazing results. So if you go on MaximeSigouin.com, there's a section where there's 3 components, and you can click on each of them to get more information. But basically, one of 3 ways to work with me. Basically, that's the impact that we're going for. So that's pretty much it. For the Tony Robbins event, I think there's still realizations that will come as it kind of progress, as the weeks go by, as I join the new membership. So very excited to share those with you guys. I want to say a big thank you for tuning in on this podcast episode. I'm very excited for what is coming. I'm excited to continuously serve you guys, provide some value, help you on your own journey, because I want everyone to experience what it's like to live to their fullest potential, right? And so I'm excited to level that up with all of you. If ever you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me. Instagram will probably be the main platform to connect with me. I'm not super post a lot on Facebook, but I'm not always checking messages on there. So Instagram would be the best way. Or you can send me an email at info@fitvegan.ca, and it's going to be me answering you. So hope you guys have an awesome day. Thank you very much for tuning into the second podcast, and I will see you next week for the next episode. Ciao.